So, thank you for coming.
No, thank you both for taking the time. I know that this is hectic and everything with the end of the semester, so just thank you for taking time for this conversation.
So, you've been reflecting and thinking about awesome things. Yes. And thank you for sharing your second dialogue.
Oh.
That was great.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm glad that you read it before this, because I think that's been a lot of my outside interactions with a couple of the archers who don't quite feel that we need to open up the doors for diversity. So it's been good. As a background, I've been talking to very conservative people in Archer, as well as very liberal people in Archer, and others who feel like their perspective or their culture or their political ideology has not been represented throughout class, and trying to find ways to make an already pretty inclusive program more inclusive, and trying to give respect to everyone's ideas and engage in more debates. So that's kind of where I am now. I don't know if you have any thoughts coming into this. I know that we've had a lot of dialogue in class.
No, I thought you had ideas. I am here to hear your ideas.
Okay, we'll do that. So a couple days ago, I told everyone, hey, I'm going to have a dialogue with Dr. Svirtha and Dr. Chin. Please let me know if you have ideas, because I have some ideas, and I told them about some models that I would propose in classrooms. And so I said, no matter who you are, no matter where you are on the political spectrum, let me know if there's ways that we can make these conversations more inclusive. So I've written just a couple of them down. It's not too much. But specifically within the context of your class. So a lot of people have said that they felt very well represented, but they did not see initially class, and they felt that the model of telling people the story of the monument and kind of the good things, right, and then balancing out with the bad things was even more than what they've gotten in previous classes. So I do just want to start with that, because I know that a lot of the things that I've been saying in class are not people's common experiences in their college careers. So a lot of people did say that there were a lot of really good things going on. I did get about 12 responses, I want to say, people who had suggestions for more inclusion. So I can
And just so I have some sense of context, about how many students did you feel like you spoke with? Everybody?
Definitely was not able to speak with everyone. I would say I spoke to about half the students in the program.
So about 24, 23.
That would be my estimate.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And so I had about 12 students give me some feedback on things that they would like to see represented. And that ranges from really small things that we can be doing in class to more bigger ideas. They proposals for specific lessons, or and I also have a collection of links that were sent to me for article suggestions for future classes as well. And I can send that to you.
Yeah, can you maybe I'm glad we're having this conversation. But if you wouldn't mind, since you've gotten it all written down, if you could also just prepare kind of a written thing and just share it with us, that'd be great too. So maybe we can just talk about it, and then
because throughout the semester, people have been sending links.
Okay, awesome.
So great.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess we'll get started. So I had 3 kind of main issues that people felt needed to be addressed. One of them was that the way that your class is structured is that there's a lot going on. We have museums, we have monuments, we have different perspectives, we have a lot of different dialogues, but oftentimes a lot of students said they did not have time to reflect on any one of these pieces, and it just felt like a collection instead of a story or something they can reflect on and ask some questions about. Some examples that were given were times in class where we took an hour for different groups to propose solutions or to propose ideas, but we did not have a discussion period afterwards, so no one got to hear feedback about their ideas or comment about what are some advantages or disadvantages to what you're saying, or what groups would be affected, what are the implications of what you're saying. for example, when I had a dialogue, not the difficult dialogue, with Alex, one thing he'd point out to me is like, hey, your thoughts on, democratic socialism don't take into account X information on economics. And I was like, oh, I would love to hear more about that because I don't study economics enough. And that's a way that I can better inform my ideas. And I told him, I said, hey, your ideas don't exactly consider implications about, like countries circumventing laws about, environmental labor regulations. He's like, well, I didn't think about that either. So just having small exchanges like that and having time to like infuse those different perspectives together instead of just kind of throwing them out there without a dialogue would be very helpful. That's one of the things.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm gonna make marks where I remember. Another issue that someone pointed out was that oftentimes like students of color are probed to defend themselves and like their experiences as people of color, while a lot of like the students just observe. And this is something that a student told me, but I also agree with. And I think it makes it difficult because while I do not want, a lot of us do want our ideas represented, and our historical perspectives and ancestry and represented in the dialogue about our nation's history. It's also very difficult when the response is not a constructive response that is asking out of a desire for education, but rather that question is seeking to invalidate that identity. So an example might be, oh, my voice is so dry. So an example might be when Carol has talked about her experience as a black woman in class, and someone has said, well, I don't see that. I don't see the way in which, X thing might be offensive. And she's like, well, I do, because I'm a black woman, that's why I see it. And so a better question, like a better type of discussion that could have been engaged may have been, interesting, where do you see that? What does that look like? How can we change? Or, what does change look like? As an example. I know that's very vague, but it encompasses a lot of like racial relations.
Was that, is that response coming from your classmates? And you feel like it's invalidating?
Classmates, yeah.
Oh.
I just finished reading a book. It's on the New York Times bestseller list on white fragility, called White Fragility. And it has an example that the woman who wrote it is a white woman. I have it marked up to share with you. And she is a person who does professional training in racial sensitivity. So she writes a story in there towards the end, which is sort of her, not towards the end, it's her penultimate story, where she's meeting with 3 colleagues, one of whom, I forget the details, one of whom, 2 of whom, maybe they're all, but anyway, she makes a comment about the African-American woman's hair. And the African-American woman is talking about something, people are intimidated by her, won't open up with her or something. And she said the woman had classic African-American hair, so she made what she thought was an offhand joke or an offhand comment. Maybe they were scared of your hair. And she's a pro. She writes for the pro. And then she writes about how she was called in by her supervisor and all this stuff happened. She had to go and she went and apologized to the woman. And the woman took it the wrong way. And she writes the book as a mea culpa that she went in hat in hand and said, I'm sorry I offended you. I'm sorry I did it wrong. What did I do wrong? You have to trust me. Please trust me. Not you have to trust me. Please trust me. And so I'm reading the book, and so she gives that as an example of how all white people, including her, have to learn to be sensitive. So I think a lot of the students, when, like this person in the book, when they ask a question that way, don't at all, not only do they not mean to be offensive, but if it comes out offensive, this woman who was a professional didn't realize, so Dave